Good afternoon, everyone. Anthony, Wall Street Trader, 1:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, December 31st, 2022. Happy New Year's in advance. Well, it's been about a year since I've went online and did my little YouTube thing, but since the past year, I've divested a little bit on the crypto side, especially on the tech stock side. I think overall, over the next 3 to 6 months, probably see a little more pain in that space, but I do think when it does come back, it will come back bigger and better than before. But right now, I've been focused in on single name stocks, particularly one I wanted to go through with you today. It's called GEO. GEO is the ticker. Now, effectively, this company is involved in the full life cycle of services and goods for governments. They do prison and rehabilitation management. Yes, this is not a glamorous business. It doesn't seem noble, but they do help inmates recover. They do help ensure monitoring and compliance for folks that are awaiting trial. And they do, a big chunk of their core business is really focused in on the operational management of correctional, immigration, and rehabilitation facilities. So they do offer a cost-effective and a turnkey solution. What does that mean? Cost-effective, well, states, local governments that need these services need a better way to do it than doing it themselves. Because when they do it themselves, you know what happens. Governments spend a lot of money doing it. So building out a facility to manage inmates and things of that nature costs money. Well, GEO does it a lot cheaper. And in addition to that, they also help with making sure that they can do this quickly. Now, we're going to go through the reasons why they can do it quickly. But right now, and I'll do this one real quick, they provide the management of building these facilities out quickly, but also managing the facility themselves. They have around 82,000 beds globally, 102 secure facilities. In addition to that, they work with multiple government agencies, Bureau of Prisons, Marshal Services, ICE, and other corrections facilities at the state, local, and county level. So they also offer a lot of in-custody rehabilitation care. So they help provide therapy to inmates that are in jail, but also reentry services. So they help people who are leaving jails into society with giving them temporary housing, helping them deal with drugs, helping them get a job, and helping them get educated. So in addition to that, for those that are awaiting trial, people like Sam Bankfried, for example, who's got probably an ankle bracelet on. These people provide both GPS and radio frequency solutions to make sure that with face detection that these people are the people that should be having this ankle bracelet on and a watch on to make sure that they are who they say they are. Also, it keeps track of these people and reports it back to their supervisors that are making sure that they are not running the country or fleeing the country. So let's move on to the prison population right now. We have 1.2 million pre-COVID level. Right around COVID, we were at 1.2. Everyone was staying in their houses. People weren't robbing anyone. People weren't out there to get robbed or killed or whatever the case may be. We went from 1.2 all the way up to 2 million today. So that's almost a twofold in terms of the jail environment. Now, this is creating a problem for a lot of governments that they need to deal with. And there are multiple reasons why it's a stressful situation. And this is where GEO comes in. Let's just talk a little bit about where they are on their balance sheet and income statement. Earnings growth and revenue growth over the last 3 quarters. Increase in top and bottom line numbers from quarter last year to quarter 3 this year. So quarter 3 last year to this year grew over 10%. Restructuring of debt. On their balance sheet, they reduced their debt from 2.4 to 2 billion and moved all of that 2 billion out past 2025. They got a lot of free cash flow now. They can return it back to the shareholder. They only owe $23 million in debt interest between now and 2025. It's a big deal. It's not a tech stock. It's a PE ratio of 20, a forward PE of 8. And it's a $1.3 billion market value. Not too big, not too small. And it's a reasonable value at this point. The prison population is booming. Like we mentioned, this is not slowing down. There's only 2 ways to deal with this. Governments can either release them sooner which presents an opportunity for GEO because now GEO gets to help provide services to them around releasing them back into society, around helping them find them jobs, helping them get them educated. All of that stuff GEO helps these governments with. Building more facility capacity, right? If they want to if they want to keep the people in jail and not release them sooner, that also represents an opportunity for GEO. They get to build these things out and operate them. Now, they only have one competitor. GEO's only competitor is CoreCivic, which does almost the same thing. Now, Wedbush very recently put an outperform rating on GEO from 11 to 14 back in November. Michael Burry, who, for those who don't know, he was a big character on The Great Short, or The Big Short, excuse me. But Michael Burry sold all of his positions except for 6. Michael Burry is a famed investor. 2 of them that he kept was GEO and CoreCivic, both in the same exact space, and there are no competitors to that. So he's pretty big in this prison business. Title 42 border issues. This is I'm not sure if anyone knows what this is, but Title 42 is an act put in by Trump to keep people out from the border. Now, what they want to do is lift this Title 42. This could be a big deal for GEO. Even if Title 42 stays in place, we're still going to see growth with GEO. But if Title 42 gets lifted and we see a mass rush at the border, well, that means we're going to have a lot of detention centers needed. That's where GEO comes into play as well. Recent appeals, well, California recently proposed a ban of privately run prisons. That has been kicked out by court, so GEO won that battle. And where we landed now is a precedent for other states. They probably won't want to try it. It was kicked out pretty quickly. Now, the cons are certain states may want to ban, but with the precedent that we've seen with California, I don't think we're going to see that. Dilution as a result of high debt, greater than $2 billion. Well, they're not going to have any debt, real debt payments until after 2025. But right now, as they've restructured it, I don't see how we're going to see any stock dilution. They just don't need it right now. Short interest at 20%, likely due to the Title 42 not getting lifted. However, it doesn't really matter to me whether it gets lifted or not, because even if it doesn't get lifted and they don't get the opportunities down at the border, they're still doing a lot of business everywhere else besides immigration. And with the forward PE ratio as we see it at 8, that Title 42 not getting lifted, if it got lifted, it would be probably lower than that, which would be a huge boon into the stock. So let's move forward into the technicals, why I believe Wedbush is right. It's currently trading at 11. I think 14 is about right based on my projection, based on this one support, now resistance line up here. We see a nice W pattern forming. I think this thing could easily make its way up right around here. Mine is a little bit more aggressive than theirs. I've got a 14.47 handle. We've got a few months for this to work out. I think this will work out. I think over the next month we might see it pop close to 30%. So going from 11 to 14 would represent that percentage pop. I think we've got to wait and see. The new year's coming. If Title 42 does get lifted, I think this thing propels up there, possibly breaking that 14 handle or 1450 handle based on my view. Anyway, hope everyone's having a good holiday. Stay safe, and we'll talk next